Resurrecting Our Dead on Jupiter, the Toynbee Tiles. My name is Bill. Welcome to NightTerrors this week, and we're starting right now. Welcome to Eldergrown and Takahama Plateau. Welcome to Green Tea. If you value what I do on the NightTerrors channel, whoops, why is this still up here? If you value what I do on the NightTerrors channel, one way to support the channel is through Patreon. Become a patron of the show by clicking on the Patreon link in the description below. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you, Elder, for the report. Appreciate it, sir. Let's get started. Not sure which one's going to be up here first. This is good, I guess, over here. Here at boingboing.net is a story by Zany Jardine entitled Toynbee Tiles, Weird Unexplained Street Art Graffiti. And Mr. or Ms. Jardine begins. Cool story. Welcome, Brooke Birch, and thank you, Brooke. Brooke has just subscribed with Prime. You know that you can subscribe with Prime to one channel on Twitch for free, and that should be NightTerrors. Hey, Rhino Rex. And Jardine begins. Cool story about mysterious art graffiti tiles embedded in American streets. No, it's not a new phenomenon. But this Kansas City Star story offers a fun new take. The message was not painted. It was some kind of tile, a bit larger than a license plate, that had actually been embedded in the street. Each letter looked to have been hand-carved and inlaid in a plastic or epoxy base. Welcome, David Bryce. I tried to push my thumbnail into the tile. Welcome, Zerithian. I tried to push my thumbnail into the tile. Welcome, Shane Riley. It was rock hard, harder than the asphalt itself. Since then, I have walked right over the thing dozens of times, and each time made a mental note to further investigate, and each time promptly mislaid the mental note. A couple months ago, however, on my way back from Jake's, I made an actual paper note, keeping it clutched in my hand, all the way back to my cube here at the Star, where I Googled the wording on the strange tile. Bingo! Up popped more than 30 internet addresses referring to other such tiles found in other cities. Turns out there have been more than 130 documented sightings of these Toynbee tiles. Now that number, 130, is way low. Toynbee tiles, as they are nicknamed on the net, in at least 20 cities around the United States. And 2 in South America. Again, there's got to be more than 2 in South America. When they were down there, they must have done more than 2. I mean, come on. We'll take a look at the map later. Takahama Plateau asks, how can you resurrect the dead by shoving them onto a gas giant like Jupiter? Please explain. That also coming up. Welcome, Verpine, and thank you for the super chat. Verpine says, how's it going? Not too bad, Verpine. Thank you, and good evening to yourself as well. Thank you, V. It turns out there have been more than... No, I read that already. In New York, almost 50 tiles have been counted. In Philadelphia, nearly 30. 20 have been spotted in Baltimore, including 4 at one intersection. And there have been at least 16 documented sightings in Washington, D.C. One of them is 1 block from the White House. All the tiles say virtually the same thing, and they all look virtually the same, except some are made with colored letters and other only black letters. The tiles that are in black and white, I believe, are the first ones that were put down. The internet accounts and stories from other newspapers indicate that the first tiles were discovered in the late 80s. Nobody has ever claimed to have witnessed any of the tiles being embedded. And nobody has ever publicly claimed responsibility for making the tiles. Oh, that's the end of that story. Here at everything2.com, and there's nothing here. Is there something down below? I'm hoping. There we go. Everything 2. Well, there's a guy who doesn't know HTML very well. Here at Everything 2 is a story by Etoile. Not sure how to pronounce it. Etoyle. I'm going to say Etoile, even though that's probably wrong. Entitled Toynbee Ideas in Kubrick's 2001, Resurrect Dead on Planet Jupiter. This being the text that is found on almost every tile. And Etoile begins. Certainly one of the more enigmatic pieces of graffiti. These Toynbee tiles, also called Toynbee plaques, refuse to answer most of the 6 basic questions of reporting. Who, what, when, where, and how. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. T. Plateau, thank you for the jewels. Much appreciated, ma'am. Who? Nobody knows. Well, we'll be looking into that further later on. It might be an individual. It might be an organization. One theory suggests it's a message from Mars. What? The Toynbee tiles are small rectangular pieces of graffiti set into the asphalt that forms a street. Sometimes they're just white and black. Other times they have red, green, and blue colors added. Occasionally, there will be additional work installed nearby in the same fashion, with a longer and even less understandable message. In other words, immediately adjacent. Sometimes extra messages are added. In one case, it was supposedly the address of a place to contact the tile maker, supposedly. I don't think that address could be read. When? Not only do the Toynbee tiles appear in the middle of the night, nobody seems to know when they appeared. Some have speculated that they originated in Manhattan, but there are no dates associated with that. Most people who have seen them seem to think they were always there. Where? These have shown up embedded in the streets of a number of major metropolitan cities in the U.S., and reportedly in Brazil and Chile as well. In Philadelphia, streets have nearly 2 dozen. I guess more than 2 streets. New York City, at least 3 dozen. And more than a dozen each in Baltimore and Washington, D.C. And it says here 1 in front of the White House. And Boston and Cincinnati each have a few. At least 1 Toynbee tile has been reported in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Atlantic City, and the small Maryland towns of Aberdeen and Edgewood. Why? Excellent question. Nobody knows this either. How? Not merely stickers or even spray paint like the No More Prisons graffiti. Toynbee tiles are actually embedded in the pavement, flush with the surface of the street. Just how they get there is also a mystery, as even late at night there is still traffic in cities. Nobody has ever seen anyone doing this. And depending on the material, also unknown, the material used for the tiles, they may have to be placed while the pavement is still wet. Some tiles have a variation on the main phrase, saying movie 2001 instead of Kubrick's 2001. The reference is, of course, to Stanley Kubrick's movie 2001, A Space Odyssey. The other reference is to the late English historian Arnold Toynbee, who apparently held some beliefs about raising the dead. Jupiter is only seen in 2001 sequel 2010. I don't know if that's accurate either. I think Jupiter may have been seen or may have been part of the original story by Kubrick. I think this person is talking about the movie. About the movies. No, you don't see Jupiter, per se, in the first edition, the first installment. But evidently you do see it in the second installment. While it seems that a single nutcase must be doing all of these, the tiles have appeared in a number of major cities in North and South America, leading to the possibility that one person could not have placed every tile, despite the references to "they're out to get me" in some of the companion tiles. It has also been suggested that the Baha'i faith may have something to do with the Toynbee tiles, but that is also pure speculation. Oh, and the author gives his or her own sightings, which include a tile at 13th and G Streets Northwest, and one at 13th and K Streets Northwest before the construction on my Washington, D.C. based office building caused one of them to be paved over. Welcome, Two Feathers. Two Feathers says, cheers to 2026, and thank you for the super chat, ma'am. Much appreciated. Two Feathers with the orange heart. Oh, orange hearts are my favorite. Thank you, Two Feathers. European says they are being placed by the guy that is visiting every Starbucks in the world. Yeah, it's the same guy. Spoilers. The author continues, I've also seen one at the intersection of M Street and Thomas Circle in Northwest. I've Brussels reports having seen one in Rio de Janeiro as well. All right, I think we are... Did I just X out of one? I think I may just X'd out of one. Anyway, what should we see first? Because these two are visual. Let's show you the Toynbee tiles first. That's not it. Where are they? Where are the Toynbee tiles? Oh, it's on the other thing. I just split, since I have so many tabs for this particular evening, I had to split my audience section into a different section, but here it is, coming up right here. And there they are. Okay, here are the Toynbee tiles, people. Here's one they actually took out of the street. Let's open link in new, open image in new tab. I guess this street was going to be paved over. And before it was, they removed the Toynbee tile. A slightly better look at them. Here's pretty much what they look like. And this one has an adjacent tile as well. Very poor resolution, however. Oh, what a shame. Let's open it up in a new tab. Most of them say this. Oh, there's two adjacent tiles, and they only have the close-up of one. What a rip. Toynbee Idea in movie 2001. And again, sometimes it'll say in Kubrick's 2001. Resurrect dead on planet Jupiter. There's a close-up of one of the adjacent tiles. They don't often have the adjacent tile. Looks like PS, perhaps? And BSR, and if against it. Are against it. And if Can't read it. Rants? Brewers? Aors? I'm not sure. Yes, postscript. That's correct for Pete. Oh, here's another one of the same one. I doubt a clearer picture. Well, tell me what it said, though. Let's see. Oh, here we go. That's a nice, fresh-looking one. This one may have been done by a copycat. Open image, new tab. There are copycats. Toynbee Idea in no, this looks like an original because check out the adjacent tile. But evidently a tile in a place with not very much traffic, or a tile that was snapped soon after it was laid. Toynbee Idea in Kubrick's 2001. Resurrect dead on planet Jupiter. Looks like I could read that, but I don't think there's any way to rotate this unless, very good resolution. Let's save it. Save image as, put it in the show folder. And we can rotate it. Put it in thumb. Save. And our thumb's already here. Yes, bonus. I left my thumbnail section open. Okay, let's open this and go this and this. Go down a little bit. And rotate. Right 90. No, I don't. Oh, these are instructions. Some have instructions on how to place the tiles. Forgot about that. Let's increase at 1. No, I do that. Oh, it's over here. Okay, and go here and here. And here. Something and glue tile. You want by destruction of acid rain? This important something. Make and glue tile, it just says. But they don't even know what it's made of. Why the weird font? Green Tea, I just read that an official artist's opinion, and we might get to that. I think the story's coming up real soon, but that artists who are self-taught often use unique capital letters. They use unique letters and they use capital letters or something like that. Hopefully that's coming up in the reading. And as you can see from the save changes, yeah, save those changes. As you can see from the proliferation of pictures here, there are hundreds and hundreds of these. They are everywhere. And we'll eventually get to the map that maps them all out. All the reported sightings. See, these are the first ones that were ever laid, black and whites. This looks like the same one. No, it isn't. Different patterns of wear. Even though this one is rimmed by red, it might have been a later or an intermediary tile before he went to full color, so to speak. Open image, new tab. I'm thinking that may be there. Oh, here. Where is it? Here it is. Toynbee Idea, movie, 2001, Resurrect dead on planet Jupiter. That's kind of abbreviated, huh? Pretty cool. It looks like you put other details over here in very fine lettering. That's an early tile. Okay, we reduce that. And we come to this. So here's at Amazon is a couple of T-shirts for sale with the tiles on them, or the an image of the tiles printed on them. Here's what looks like a pristine version of a black and white for $20, and a color version for $22. Here at Etsy, here's a Toynbee Tile Classic T. Looks like a two-tone color version. Here's a sew-on patch from Etsy. The T, $23. The sew-on patch, $7.50. And the T-shirt with looks like about 20, maybe 30 of them printed on. Goes for $22.50. Let's take a little closer look at that. The resolution is probably going to be horrible. No, it's not bad. You can see these are all different Toynbee tiles. Let's figure out how many. 4 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 28. I was close. And there may be some under the fold here. And there's one on top, 29. So maybe 29 of them. Is that a prime? Welcome, Gotcha Man. Oh, good catch, Gotcha Man. Thank you, G-Man. Much appreciated, sir. Gotcha Man says the font looks so strange because of how the tiles were created. The artist had to get a little creative with the font style. That's according to Google and provided by Gotcha Man. Thank you, Gotcha Man. T Plateau likes the Toynbee font. What do we have next? Next up. Well, here's that article, hopefully. Here at WESA FM, or WESA.FM, rather, there's a story by Andelina Lancianese, entitled Look Down, How Toynbee Tiles Invaded and Disappeared from Pittsburgh Streets. That's a copycat here. This word says House of Hades. They're a later entry into the tile phenomenon. And Adelina begins. There's a decades-old mystery underfoot in downtown Pittsburgh. Small tiles placed in busy intersections that decry media and ponder resurrection. The colorful linoleum mosaics, about the size of license plates. Actually, they're a little bit bigger, I think. They may be total in size, the size of a license plate, but they're more squarish, in my view. Green Tea says, I didn't know our past loved ones went to other planets. Were constructed by an anonymous artist, dropped into the streets, and embedded right into the pavement through heat and the pressure of passing cars. The tiles convey hand-cut messages, such as, and it doesn't give an example. Okay. Forget the example. Toynbee tiles, as they're known, began in Philadelphia sometime in the 1980s. Today, they can be found all across the United States, and even in South America. Melissa Marinaro, public art enthusiast and director of the Italian-American program at the Heinz History Center, says they're an international phenomenon. Pittsburgh was once home to at least 6 original tiles. But more than $4 billion in downtown development over the last decade has meant repaving, jackhammering, and ultimately destruction. So what do the Toynbee tiles mean, and who made them? The answer to both questions is unclear, but the internet is rife with theories. Tile experts break down one Toynbee message into 4 parts. Toynbee Idea. The first line of text is the namesake of the Toynbee tile, Toynbee Idea. It likely refers to 20th century British philosopher Arnold Toynbee, who theorized that dead particles could be brought back to life. But it could also recall science fiction writer Ray Bradbury's 1984 short story, Toynbee Convector, which is about time travel. In Kubrick's 2001, which is usually the second line, in Kubrick's 2001. This part of the message is a clear nod to director Stanley Kubrick's epic, the 1968 film 2001, A Space Odyssey, which suggests the next step of human evolution as life on Jupiter. Resurrect Dead. The artist might believe that Arnold Toynbee's theory could become, or already is, a reality on planet Jupiter, and that eternal life awaits on Jupiter. Whatever the message imparts it in each section, Marinaro says they're prime examples of visionary art. Usually, the artists who are interpreting these creative pieces believe that they're getting messages from somewhere, from God, from a being of higher power, she says. Welcome, Eddie Haskell. Eddie says, hey, Bill, I've been a little busy, but I'm glad to see you're still doing well. Same to you, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. Eddie Haskell, I haven't seen you in a dog's age. Marinara also theorizes that a self-taught artist made the tiles. Here's that quote. I think that the design is indicative of what we see in a lot of self-taught art, which is that typically letters are in all capitals, she explains. And it also encompasses the full design of the tile, where every inch of the usable space is populated with some kind of design. And you see a lot of primary colors as well, whites, reds, blues, and yellows. The artist remains unknown and is probably no longer producing new work. More on him remaining unknown later. If you know what I mean. The movie, the 2011 documentary, Resurrect Dead, The Mystery of the Toynbee Tiles, recounts the efforts of a group of tile enthusiasts working to identify the tiler, using a South Philadelphia home address printed on a Toynbee tile in Chile. Or should I say Chile? The owner of that home, described by his neighbors as a recluse, never answered the door. Mapping Pittsburgh's Toynbee tiles. The locations of at least 6 original Toynbee tiles once formed an L over 8 blocks of Smithfield Street and Forbes Avenue. Today, the streets are jet black and the paint is a striking white, signs of recent repaving. Some intersections that were once concrete are now brick. The streetscape can be deceiving. A small storm gate or stray magazine seem Toynbee Tile-esque from afar, and brief crosswalk times force passers-by not to linger long. Beyond the L are 6 tiles spanning a few blocks on Boulevard of the Allies between Market and Grant Streets, but they're not Toynbee. Copycats, like an artist who goes by the name House of Hades, have assumed the original tiler's mission, distributing tribute tiles in this part of Pittsburgh as well as New York City and Washington, D.C. New York City? One of Pittsburgh's tribute tiles depicts a wordless moonlit street, next to another piece credited to the House of Hades. Marinaro says imitation is flattery and believes the presence of Toynbee tiles in Pittsburgh, original or otherwise, suggests the city is a valuable location for proselytizing. Marinaro says, we're recognized as some kind of major market in which this would be viewed by a lot of people. This was part of the intention. They wanted large masses of people to be able to see this message. They or he. That message is disappearing. Toynbee Tiles tile fans across Pittsburgh have long lamented their demise. But not all of the city's original tiles are buried under asphalt. In 2016, city officials working on a construction project on Smithfield Street offered to slice 2 tiles from the pavement and donate them to the Heinz History Center, one an original Toynbee and the other a House of Hades tribute. Marinaro personally advocated for their procurement because she says she believes that the Toynbee tiles are an important part of Pittsburgh's history of public art. And there we see that excised portion of pavement. We take a closer look at it earlier in the program. So hit that rewind button if you're interested in taking a close-up look at this decimated Toynbee tile close up. What's up next? This looks like a bunch of pictures. No, it's not. It's a bunch of pages. Okay, I found this this website, ToynbeeIdea.com, and it's really good on covering all the bases. Welcome, Mr. Kilroy. Mr. Kilroy says, "Hey, Bill, the Toynbee tiles are marking the entrance to dumb bases, DUMB bases, which is Deep Underground Military Bases abbreviation." Cool. Thank you, Mr. Kilroy. Anyway, this website was set up by Steve Weinick, who was a cinematographer on the movie Resurrect Dead, which was all about the tiles. And on one of the pages of Steve's website, which is separated into the classic reporter's questions, those 6 questions: who, what, when, where, how, and why. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. Now I got them. And we're here on what? To start off? Now, what is that guy doing in the picture? Maybe just for scale to show how big? That's a pretty big license plate. Let's say it's like a huge license plate. I didn't realize they were that big. I'm glad there's a hand in there for scale. That's a grown man's hand. Looks like. That looks like a grown man's hand. Let's increase that a little bit so I can read it. How about... oh, there, I guess. Toynbee tiles refer to a message and a medium. Invented by, it says here, a Philadelphia artist in the 1980s. Gotcha Man's making an announcement. Oh, Gotcha Man's starting his own movie night. Sweet. Thursday night, starting January 8th at 9 p.m. An hour earlier than this Saturday's show. If you're in another time zone, it's 1 hour before I come on tonight, but not tonight. It'll be Thursdays. Starting January 8th. That's 5 days hence. Theme this week: movies with warm places. Be there or be square. Let's see. For more, Billy Tiles explained one. Let's skip the why for now, because this goes real deep into who did them. So we'll move this let's say after the reveal of the guy who did them. And that is who. So that should be moved here. And instead of starting with what, we'll start with when. One of the most difficult and important things established during our research was an accurate timeline. I will spare you the years of dead ends and bizarre coincidences that led us down many a winding and fruitless path, and just give you what we know. Thank you. Beginnings. Oh, by the way, Gotcha Man's promoting the names of the movies that are going to be on Thursday, and that is the last remake of BoJest and Back to the Beach. One of the things established during our research was an accurate timeline. I'll spare you the year. Oh, I've read that already. Beginnings, 1979. Between January and June of 1979, the Toynbee Tiler discovered a passage in Arnold Toynbee's autobiography, Experiences. In part, it reads. So here now, folks, is the explanation of the resurrection of our dead on the planet Jupiter, for those who need to know, including myself. Okay, this is a quote from Toynbee. The dust of which a human body is composed, quantitatively trivial though it is an integral part of the inconceivably vast physical universe. And when, after death, the body dissolves into its physical elements, these elements themselves are not annihilated. Death has destroyed the organism that, for a brief time, had succeeded in maintaining itself as a puny counter-universe. But the physical materials of which the dissolved human body was composed at the moment of death have not been destroyed through ceasing to be incorporated temporarily in an organic physical structure. They are continuing to exist as parts of the physical universe, though this no longer in an organic form. It says you can read the full passage here. I will pass on the passage. TTT, in other words, the Toynbee Tiler, combined the ideas and experiences and connected them to the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick. He then set to work, forming the Minority Association, a group dedicated to the colonization of Jupiter. We have no proof that the organization was ever larger than its founding member. According to the documents, TTT introduced his idea with the public in February of 1980 on a call-in to Larry King. In 1980, King was best known as the host of a nationally syndicated late-night radio show. At 3 a.m., he opened his lines to the public for what he dubbed Open Phone America. We have learned since that the Toynbee Tiler made more than one call to the show and may have been something of a regular. George Washington University holds the Larry King radio archives, but extensive searches never turned up the February 1980 tape. Even without it, we have an approximation of the transcript in David Mamet's one-act play, 4 a.m. That's the name of the play, 4 a.m. In the 1985 play, Mamet presents a conversation between a caller and a radio host based on Larry King. The caller asks for support on his idea to raise the dead on Jupiter, through ideas presented in the movie 2001 and the writings of Arnold Toynbee. In 2006, Mamet commented to NPR that he believes the tiles are an homage to his play. I don't doubt that he believes this, but evidence strongly suggests that he based his play on an actual call between the tiler and Larry King. Prior to the publication of Mamet's 4 a.m., and let's move the text of that up as well. Is that the next thing? Well, we'll work on that next. What's next? Mamet next? Not here. That's the map. Not here. Well, I don't know what this is exactly. Not there. I just did the same one 2 times in a row. Why does everything seem to have the same one? Not there. We have one more chance, pretty much. Not there. Oh, maybe we'll run across it. Or maybe it's the one I'm reading currently. With the timeline. Yeah. Prior to the publication of Mamet's 4 a.m., the tiler approached journalists and intellectuals trying to promote his idea. In March of 1983, a man speaking as James Marasco called Philadelphia Inquirer columnist Clark DeLeon, who wrote an 11-sentence piece for the paper. This article was the extent of the Minority Association's sources in mainstream media. On a more subversive tract, the tiler also purchased a shortwave transmitter to help him spread his message. We spoke to a go-between in the shortwave community who participated in a sale of a Viking 2 transmitter between a shortwave pirate and a man in South Philadelphia in the early 1980s. The buyer specifically wanted the mobile unit to jam Channel 2 in New York with a religious message. We know that Tyler used a Viking 2 to jam VHS broadcast signals in Philadelphia. Our contact didn't get out of the car for the face-to-face transaction, and there's no direct evidence of a connection, but it is a compelling anecdote. By the mid-1980s, wheat paste messages were plastered throughout Center City, Philadelphia, advertising the ideas of the tiler and the shortwave radio broadcasts. We never found photos of the wheat pastes, but their message was reproduced in a shortwave magazine. ACE, the Association of Clandestine Enthusiasts. In February 1984, a short article accompanied the transcript. The above public notice has recently begun to appear in the center city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. These stickers have showed up almost everywhere. On USA Today boxes, telephone poles, train and bus stations, even on Communist Workers' Party newspaper boxes. Communist Workers' Party newspaper boxes. They're talking evidently about the, what do they call them? Wheat paste messages. I guess he means he's putting up posters on telephone poles and stuff. This is before the tiles, I guess. The first reports of tiles that we consider to be credible date to the mid-1980s. Early tiles were about the size of a license plate, plain white, and had no border or mosaic elements. To see different styles of tiles and how they changed over time, visit the What section of this site, which we're going to get to. Based on style, content, and the memory of a man who encountered the tiles as a child in Santiago, Chile. This is also when the South American tiles appeared. We have absolutely no idea why he chose 3 countries. The only theory I have is this passage from Experiences on page 273, Arnold Toynbee's autobiography, and the same book that inspired the idea behind the tiles. This is a quote from Toynbee. In 1989, the year in which I made my first journey beyond the bounds of Britain, the only means of conveyance from this island to any other country was by ship. In 1966, I traveled by airplane from London to Rio de Janeiro and back from Santiago, Chile, to London, soaring over the Andes instead of climbing up and down them by train. This theory is a stretch, but worth mentioning. Yeah, that must be where he got it, right? He mentions Chile and the capital of Chile. Amazing. That must be where he got it from. He must have read that book cover to cover a couple of times, right? So part of this was a tribute to Toynbee. Excuse me. Dead air. That's nice and cool. How you doing? Welcome, Kay Lorraine. He says this theory is a stretch. I don't think so. I don't think it is. In this era, tiles in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, included the address of a house in South Philadelphia as a side text to their primary message, along with its own tile surface. It may have been part of the original tile material, but it's sometimes like in a different color scheme and with smaller letters. The adjacent tiles, that is. Kayla Rain, I'm drinking iced tea with lemon this evening. Crystal Light, no sugar. Generic Walmart version, which is good stuff, or what is it called? I don't have the thing here. Good something. The Walmart house brand. Along with style and memory, there's a strong indicator that the South American tiles were among the earliest. By the 1990s, the message took a much more paranoid turn, and the tiler ceased all direct communication to the media about his idea. T Plateau says you should make it yourself. Yeah, but it won't be sweet then. It won't be sweet in the right way. I guess I could experiment. Find out what they're using as a sweetener. Maybe I should. Thank you, T Plateau. That's a really good idea, because I am cheap. I am dirt cheap. So he got paranoid, as was reflected by later tiles, and it says here, by the 1990s, it's extremely unlikely he would have put his address on a tile. Good value, yeah. Or great value. I think it's great value. Yeah, thank you, Elder. The 1990s were the heyday of the Toynbee Tiles. The tilers spent the first half of the 1980s trying and mostly unsuccessfully, let's say completely unsuccessfully, to promote his idea through mainstream media, direct messages, and shortwave radio broadcasts. We know by the late 1980s he had begun experimenting with crude messages embedded in busy city intersections, from Boston to D.C. Kay Lorraine says, That was our main generic brand here, but then Everyday Essentials beat it out for Pennsylvania. Or for father. Maybe not everywhere, but the food place I go. No kidding. Huh. Everyday Essential. Never heard of it. Everyday Essential. Interesting. Thank you, Kayla Rain. Green tea suggests sweetening with stevia liquid, which I do have. But a lot of these artificial sweeteners, a lot of them aren't very good. The best one I ever tasted is it's called an alcohol, but it doesn't have alcoholic content. But it's like an alcohol created with sugar that still tastes sweet. And they use it for ice cream. Hershey's uses it for their sugar-free chocolate syrup. And I forget the name of it right now, but I'm definitely going to look on the ingredients list. I wonder if I can get that stuff in bulk, because that's really the best tasting one. I mean, if you can use it in ice cream, you know it's got to be pretty good. Yeah, it might be erythritol. Green tea suggests, and Verpina as well. Thanks, guys. Kayla Rain suggests monk fruit. Yeah, it's too bad there's so little of it. It like grows in Asia or something. How you know you're really getting monk fruit? It says it's supposed to be an appetite suppressant, right? And they do make it in a powder, yeah. But again, it doesn't grow in this country, so how do you know you're getting real monk fruit? I don't know. I'd have to do a lot of research on that before I decided on investing any money in a $25 what would you call it? Bottle. $25 bottle of monk fruit pills or the powder or whatever. In the 1990s, a few big things happened. Rapine says allulose is pretty good as well. T Plateau confirms monk fruit is very expensive in Australia. Thank you, T Plateau. In the 1990s, a few big things happened. The tiles became increasingly complex in style and artistry. They became increasingly paranoid with a growing hostility towards the media. The internet was born, and people in cities around the world learned just how widespread these messages were, and that no one knew who made them or where they came from. Where the media ignored the tiles began receiving widespread press attention. Boy, is it cold in this burg. T Plateau wants to know if allulose is similar to lactulose. Never heard of lactulose before. Allulose I've heard of. I heard of monk fruit. Good evening, Ryu72. Welcome to see you, sir. Happy to see you. Sir and or madam. I keep forgetting who is what. So we'll just use they and them. Welcome, guys. The guy is known as Ryu72. The early 2000s brought huge sweeping changes to the... I said that already. Reports of large or segmented tiles glued on highways and at exit ramps began to appear in 2001. From their location, it's pretty much guaranteed these were distributed by car. Highway tiles continue to pop up to this day. With the exception of a single tile in Connecticut, these tiles appeared only in Philadelphia and its metro area. From 2004 to 2006, hundreds of index card-sized or smaller tiles, smaller than index cards, appeared throughout Philadelphia and the Jersey Shore. Most of these appeared to be put down by someone on a bicycle or on foot. Many of them were clustered around major public transit hubs. A handful of larger highway tiles appeared in this area, so the tiler probably had occasional access to a car. In 2007, about a dozen tiles made close to the original style appeared in Center City, Philadelphia. These tiles were clearly distributed by car. Between 2008 and 2010, hundreds of tiles of every style and a few new styles were glued in nearly every corner of Philadelphia. A large number of tiles also appear in South Jersey, between the Philadelphia suburbs and the Jersey Shore. Around this time, a shortwave station of unknown origin started to broadcast under the name Toynbee Radio. It's not out of the question that the tiler is somehow affiliated with this station, though QSLs showing photographs of tiles in production, or tiles sent directly to listeners by mail, are known copycats. The operator of Toynbee Radio has denied being the tiler, but has never definitely ruled out a connection to him. (2010) and beyond. The movie Resurrect Dead was accepted into the 2011 Sundance Film Festival and premiered there in January of that year. The film, which is about the Toynbee Tiles, was seen in festivals and theaters internationally and distributed on cable and streaming and DVD. The past few years have marked another dramatic shift in the life of the Toynbee Tile saga. From 2013 to 2015, dozens of tiles in a new but consistent style appeared in Baltimore, Wilmington, on I-95, South Jersey, and New York City. Interestingly, some of the tiles in the Atlantic City area don't display the Toynbee message, but instead attack a man named Mason Meltzer. Meltzer reportedly has a tangential collection to the tiler, though he's never actually met him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it for that page. And we progress through the where. Ooh, good, we get to look at maps. Where? One of the questions we get the most is, did you ever put the tiles on a map? The thinking behind the question begs some Hollywood-style grand conspiracy. The scene would play out like this. In some dimly lit room, the intrepid Resurrect Dead team pins tile locations to a giant map on the wall. As we finish, the camera pans back to reveal a giant arrow pointing to buried Illuminati gold. The tile map is nowhere near that earth-shattering. More than anything, the map of 600-plus tiles reveals, with a startling degree of detail, the travel patterns of a Philadelphian with the habit of dropping breadcrumbs all over the eastern half of the U.S. We see regular trips down the shore. We see a preference for Route 1. If we look close enough, we can even see a habit for Dunkin' Donuts. Trips to Midwestern cities show tiles starting near highway. I guess he left out a "the" here. Starting near the highway and trailing through downtown and jumping back onto the next on-ramp out of town. That's his path. Isn't that cool? His path by vehicle. Okay, Lorraine asks, is this saying real DNA remains on the planet, or is this more of a theory about the planet? This is saying using, I guess Toynbee's theory was to use the molecules of the person. I guess he would have to extract DNA. But his idea was to use the smallest usable parts of a person, like down to the, maybe not molecular, but whatever the smallest unit of a human body is. I have no idea what that is, but small units. Welcome, House Mouse 2. Small units, but you could say DNA. You could say DNA. It's more along the lines of DNA, let's say. But remember, this is the resurrection of the dead. So you got an extra step in between there somewhere, between the DNA and the people acclimated to Jupiter being created there. Okay, here's the map. Is that it? Yeah, that's it for the text on this page. Let's take a look at the map. Can we show it somewhere else? What's home? Default extent is right there. Okay, let's now these marks are all other cities that it's in. There's one in Iowa, one in Kansas City, Missouri. I guess he didn't get out west. But apparently there's one in Minneapolis. What is the key to this map? Where's the dang key to this map? Key is usually at the bottom or something of the map, right? Atlantic Ocean. We go down to the... Let's go way out here. Where's the dang key? No, wait, all they're showing is black dots. I don't know if a white dot should be included then. Seems to me they should, but maybe that's too... But white dots only appear on closer inspection. Well, no, I'm going to include the white dots. So, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and also on near the border of Michigan and Indiana. One in Indianapolis. One in St. Louis. Not one, but a mark there. I'm thinking maybe the hollow points, so to speak, the hollow bullets. Oh, so it does figure. Hollow points, hollow bullets. The hollow bullet marks probably indicate 1. The black maybe, who knows, 1 to 10, and the green more than 10 maybe, depending on size. Who knows? But they really should have a key there as to what represents what. View larger map. Yeah, let's view a larger map. Welcome, Patton 370. Good to see you, Patton. Thank you, Elder. Still no index. What the hump? What the hump? Anyway, Nashville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Birmingham. It's not Birmingham. Birmingham. Oh, we say Birmingham here anyway. I don't have to say it like the English say it. Birmingham in Alabama. Montgomery, Alabama. Welcome, Green Dragon. The Green Dragon has arrived. I don't know. But there is Texas. No way he went to all these states. No, I guess it's just black. Just the black marks. So ignore Alabama. We're looking just at north because we have those dots everywhere else. I mean, Winnisk and Fort Severn and Fort Nelson. No way he went to all those. So it's just the blacks and the greens. So strike what I said earlier, please. Thank you, Elder. So we're just looking at the eastern half and the northeastern half of the United States. Chicago seems to have more than one. There's a bigger black dot in Chicago. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky. He does not have one. So we go over here to Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, undesignated city. Up here as far north as Massachusetts and Boston, Providence, Rhode Island, Hartford, Connecticut. Green Dragon says he has videos posted on his channel dedicated to me. Oh, I must see this. We got to check this out, people. Let me just look you up here. The Green Dragon, 777. I have YouTube here somewhere, right? It should be here somewhere. It's going to be like here. And I know, see, let's go to YouTube here. And look up Green Dragon. And let's go that way. Is it 777? Yes, it is. Yeah, we got to get this guy some more subscribers. He has a respectable 37 right now. He must have more. Oh, cool. Videos. Shorts. What time is it? It's, let's say 6 past the hour. It's time for the vanity break. All videos right here. So it's 3 videos. No lives. Las Vegas 2023 UFO crash. So-called star in our atmosphere had craft flying in behind it. Nice. And something about 3 foot tall. Literally came walking out of the bushes. Very nice. This one only 2 months ago. This one 1 month ago. This one 10 days ago. Holy cow, Green Dragon. Thank you. Dedicated to me. I really appreciate it, sir and or madam. I'm thinking a guy. We'll just use they, them. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Green Dragon team. Excellent. Okay. We got to go back. Back. Take a closer look here. Can I go? How do I do it up here, right? Let's see how numerous these get. There's supposed to be 600 plus of them. Ooh. This being Philadelphia right here in the state of Pennsylvania. Green Dragon says, I've got more short videos. I do actual long videos. I'm glad you pointed out that I need to make more longer videos. I got more than I do actual long videos. I'm glad you pointed it out. Well, it's up to you, buddy. I mean, shorts are a thing, but they don't pay as good as the ones that are not shorts. The ones that are not shorts pay a lot better than the shorts. So I wouldn't recommend going into shorts, but you know, anybody can go viral. I proved that. Good luck to you. Good luck to you guys. It's pretty cool how you can see how they're laid out pretty smartly, like almost exclusively only at intersections, which is why this map looks like a game of dots. Anybody ever play that game? You put the dots and you cross them out. Yeah, it's easier for me to see that they're in a grid pattern. Yeah, it looks like almost exclusively at intersection. This one's not. This one's not. Oh, but because it's at an intersection with another street. Okay. In other words, smaller blocks. So that is at an intersection as well. In fact, I don't see a single one that's not at an intersection of 2 roads. Isn't that weird? course, you got a traffic circle here. There are a couple of that you're not going to get one at an intersection, I guess. But elsewhere, exclusively at intersections everywhere. I can't see a single one that is not. Huh. I wonder if you can see them on the street like on Google Earth. How would we test that? Why don't we check out, there's 4 of them here. Let me show you close up. Oh, quite a few here. Plus, plus. This area is called the Gallery at Market East. It's probably the whole building is the gallery. And right outside of it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the tiles. So what we need is, can we copy that? No. The Gallery at Market East in Philadelphia. Let's go to here. I believe it's here. Yes. Where's Google Maps? Where are you? Google Earth, rather. Already forgot the name of it. The Gallery at Market East. The Gallery at Market East. The Gallery. Gallery. And there it is. And that's what it looks like. Ooh, fancy schmancy. Excuse me. So I guess if we go plus, where is it? Where's the... Oh, there we go. There's our dot, right? Why is it not showing it to us? Shouldn't it show us? Oh, come on. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. It not being at the center of the zoom in. And it's not at the center of the zoom in. Well, where is it tagged? Did we go there yet? Search? Recent searches. Yeah, this is it right here. So it's Mobile, Alabama. Chickasaw. Mount Vernon. Grand Bay. What is going on here? Why won't it go here? Let's try this one. Oh, that's Market East. This is, well, this is the same thing, but oh, come on. It's got to go to the place. Make it go there's no. There's no address number. Here we go. 8th Street, Philadelphia. Let's try this one. There we go. Okay, there it is. So we got to get down. It's the one right across. Wait, is the Market Street? So that's right here? How close can we get to the street? Where is, that says 5 below. You would think it would be labeled, right? North Main. That's Market Street. Where is it at? 8th Street Station. Supposedly there. The gallery. So it's this building here. This is the gallery. Okay, so Market Street goes past it. Is that what it shows? And we're looking at this one, I think. Yes. So 3 here and 4 here, and left turn is another one. Okay. I am requiring something from over here. All right, let's find them tiles. Okay, back to Google Earth. So there is this white roofed building to the left of Five Below, and to the right of the Fashion District, so-called Fashion District, Philadelphia. Okay, so there's some here, supposedly, some here, and some here. Of course, they were talking about the repaving. Oh, that might all be gone. How close can we get to the street itself? Maybe we shouldn't have chose Philadelphia. Holy cats. I'd say we're a little close. Can we just see that it's there? There's supposedly... Okay, now what position are they in? One under this right corner and one to the right of this. But you drop down a little bit. This is right at the corner. And there's one here a long bit. Okay, no bit, short bit, long bit. Can I move this? I have to get rid of it. No bit. Ooh, maybe that right there. And let's see, move. Looks like that's where they dug one of them up. It does. Or maybe that's where a tile used to be or something. And down here, I forgot how this was supposed to look. That one's a little bit. It could be that right there. And then there's some supposedly down here. Right in the crosswalk. That has to be it. Look at that clear delineation right in the middle of the crosswalk bar. I bet you that's one of them. Can we see it out the window of our vehicle, can we see it out of the window of the Google car? Supposedly out of the window. Actually, there are cameras on top of the car. Ouch, I can't even raise this hand anymore. Getting old. I think there's one right there. Let's see if that matches up with the... Yeah, I think it matches, but wait, that's like... Is that on the pavement? That looks like it's on the sidewalk. Those look like they're on the sidewalk, however. Maybe it's a manhole cover or something. On the sidewalk, you would think they would still be there. Let's go down here and see if we can see anything. And go. And it's the opposite intersection. Oh. No. Go back that way. For some reason I'm not... I just click here and go there? I'm trying to click on this one. Oh, finally, I got it. It doesn't seem like you would be able to put it there. No, that's a manhole cover. Yeah, these might have been paved over. Elder says he doubts the dots on the map are very precise. Oh, then that would be in the street then, huh? Thank you, Elder. Yeah, still not seeing them. Must have done them over. That's for a manhole cover. There's that new brick that the article was talking about. So if you see brickwork, you're likely not to see a Toynbee tile in Philadelphia. That's a shame. I'd like to see one by a Google car. Okay, where were we at? Is it? I don't know where it is. It's over here. Let's see if we can find one that we can see. Minus, minus, minus. The reveal of who actually was doing this stuff and how he was doing it coming up very shortly now. But first, let's back out of this map. Where are they least likely to repave the streets? I see Fishkill. That's New York. Williamstown, huh? Mays Landing. By Tulsa, Oklahoma, says Green Tea. He's only in the north and the east, unfortunately. He's not anywhere near the Panhandle. Elder says they are at least likely to repave. They are the least likely to repave the seats in South America. Good point, Elder. Let's go South America, baby. Where is this? Okay, so we got to go zoom out of here. We got to find something in Spanish that we can't copy, but we'll have to reproduce letter by letter. Let's go more out. Rio, Buenos Aires, Santiago. Hey, Santiago, I got a good feeling. Okay, where is it in Santiago? Whoops, wrong way. I got a good feeling about this one. Really good thinking, Elder. Thinking outside the box. Even though these were among the earliest. These were set down in the 80s, down in South America, when he was first starting out. Whoops. I'm reading the comments, I'm not looking. Oh, it's right here, okay. So it's down from the Plaza de Arm. And arm is ES. Ours arm is with ES. Plaza de Arm. On Calle Estado. So we want Plaza de Arm. Let's go get it. Plaza de Arm. Whoops. Spell arm right. Plaza de Arm. Santiago. That'll be it. Plaza de Arm. Whoa, the streets in Santiago. Check them out. Can we rotate this a little bit? I forget how to do it. I think we got to go down to Street View to do it. Anyway, 2 blocks south, which is right here. Plaza de Arm is small. That doesn't seem to match the other map. Yeah, it's not square. It's a rectangle here. So the third square, these are almost exactly square shaped. This is quite a nice layout. Didn't the Spanish lay this out? Okay, so let's, considering they're squares. This sure doesn't look like a square. Maybe it means this and this, this and this, and then this. Yeah, why does this map not look like what's on the ground? Well, that's a street. What is this street name? Will it tell us the street name? I think if we go closer in, it may. Plus. Tell us the street name. Come on. Okay, we can use this because we think it's there. 1, 2, 3. We think it's this huge block here, and it's supposed to be here. Is it at the intersection of Reforma Ote. And whoops, there's nothing under there. There isn't even a card under there. Give me my card. Did that show up in the beginning? I hope so. I don't even remember. Okay. No. This is the Calle Augustinas. Calle Augustinas. Huh. In Santiago. Grand Santiago, Plaza de Arnhem. We can't be in the same place then. Is there a, they're all Santa Lucia over there. Negative. Centro. Armas. I misspelled it. It's not ES, it's AS. Okay. No, when I selected the address, it had the right address. Centro. Santiago. Huh. Green tea has a link. Green tea has another link. Let's try this one. Is it map apps? Ooh. Okay, let's check out Green Tea's link. There it is. Thank you, Green Tea. You are the woman. Thank you, Green Tea. Let's reduce this. And Elder was right. Check it out. They haven't. Oh, shit. What did I do? I go back? Yeah. I can't just. Oh, that's how you do it. There it is. No, we don't want to go there. We want to go plus. There it is right there. Does it say Kubrick or movie? We can't go any further in. Something? Oh, it must be in Spanish. Yeah, it must be in Spanish. Well, you got me there. But since 1980, they haven't paved this dang street. Yes. That's what they look like in situ. And nobody saw him do it. Nobody has ever seen him do it. And we're going to learn why and how it is done coming up now. Okay, I think we may have to skip ahead here a little bit. This goes here. That's correct. Okay, so we want to here and here to who? This being Steve Weineck's website. Is that his name, Steve Weineck? Yeah, Steve Weineck. Steve Weineck was a cinematographer on the movie Resurrect Dead. When we started our research, we had no idea where it would lead us. Where it took us was to a person who didn't want to talk. I think that Tyler probably does speak to some people about his work, but did not feel comfortable with the forum that we offered. What is now a major motion picture documentary, Resurrect Dead. No matter how well-intentional we believed ourselves to be, showing up at his door with a camera wasn't the soundest path for establishing trust. What, they showed up with a damn camera? Jeez, crippers, come on. Send a representative first. When the film got into Sundance, and saw wider distribution than any of us had ever imagined. We became extremely uncomfortable with shining a light on a person who, by our best guess, didn't want the attention. With that said, we went ahead with the movie. One other note. This site refers to the Toynbee Tiler with the acronym TTT. And whenever it says TTT, I'm just saying the Tiler. I'm leaving out his name by choice. I think it's James Marasco. And I do not believe he is still with us in this world, unfortunately. May God rest his soul. If you need to know, it's easy enough to find. I'm also leaving out biographical details that I consider irrelevant, or other descriptions and information that has no relationship to his work. He's never spoken directly to me or anyone we knew about the tiles. The information on this site is gathered through second-hand accounts, first-hand documents, and inference based on decades of communication through the tiles. Where there is speculation, I try to acknowledge it. Here's what I can say. The Tiler is an anonymous Philadelphia-born artist. One uncle was a politically connected funeral director. Another relative was the inventor of instant replay. So genius runs in the family, I guess. Other close family members include an artist, a mechanic, even the owner of a tile store. He was born in the 1950s and grew up somewhere in this creative mix. We know through documents and acquaintances that he was a fan of science fiction. He also had skills in car modification, including converting Fiat 128 sedans into pickups, and installing vinyl lettering and artwork on commercial vehicles. By the 1980s, the Tiler decided to start spreading his message. You can read more about that timeline in the What and Why pages. That's all I have to say on this page. If you're still not satisfied, there are biographical tidbits spread throughout the pages of this site. Let's go on to the what are we looking for, or why? Or how? Let's do how. We did what extensively already. How, writes Steve Weineck. When I was in the 8th grade, I ran a pretty good scheme at my school. In the afternoons, I would stop by my local Bodega 40 shop and load up on atomic fireball candies for 5 cents apiece. The next day, I would sell them to my classmates for a dime, or 3 for a quarter. By Friday afternoon, I had enough spare change for an hour of gaming at one of the arcades on Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. It was 1993, and I walked across a few tiles on my way to the arcade. That's where I first noticed them. Now, this is the cinematographer on the movie. So you know they got a lot of people working on the movie that are really interested in it. Welcome, Dig on the Hill. Dig on the Hill says, Hi, Bappy. Hi, Bappy. Hi, Bill, and Happy New Year. You look like Sith in Star Wars. Great subject. We'll have to watch tomorrow. Never heard of the subject. Thank you for your hard work. You're most welcome, DG on the Hill. What caught my eye and confounded me most was how did they get there? The message suggested they were clandestinely installed. But how? Like a lot of other people, I imagined heavy machinery, blowtorches, a small work crew. Were they metal, vinyl? As I read more about the tiles and learned that they'd appeared at the entrance to the Holland Tunnel, a block from the White House, in Times Square and dozens of other busy, sensitive locations, the mystery deepened. Because no one has ever seen this guy placing his tiles. In 2000, Justin Duerr found a freshly glued tile at 13th and Arch Streets in Center City, Philadelphia, and finally figured out how it was all done. He discovered that the tile was in the center of a layered package of tar paper and held together by glue. The bundle was then adhered to the street with a kind of road tar. The tile itself was linoleum, a soft and pliable material. True linoleum has far more give than your average vinyl floor tile, and is less prone to shattering under the extreme conditions of a city street. This is in the street where the cars go. There are tires running over this constantly. And you saw how excellent a condition it was in being placed in the middle 80s in Santiago, Chile. Was that Chile? I'm thinking yes, but I'm not for sure. Another source of information was a large tile at Smithfield in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. One of its side text messages included instructions on how to make and glue tiles. Very basic instructions. It didn't give any of those details. It just said make and glue. And it didn't give any ingredients to the tiles. Ironically, that tile was never set properly, leaving large portions of the message illegible. We can make out the words, "Summer sun melts," along with linoleum, and I use asphalt crack filler. I take it back that I did not know those words were there. We know the tiles typically go down in the hottest months, when the asphalt is at its most soft state. At its softest. This helps tiles properly adhere to the street, not to mention the traffic going over it immediately. From this information, we know that the ideal tile mosaic is made from a thin, flexible linoleum tile, real linoleum, people, although some tiles are made with different materials. I ought to put down real linoleum. I ought to do that. I mean, look at the wear it's taken. Huh. I think I'm going to do that. I'm remodeling my house, and I have more than one room that could use a linoleum covering. And we have no carpets. 0 carpets in the whole house. Not even as an entrance mat. Not even as a welcome mat, or a place where you can knock the snow off your shoes when you come indoors here up in the Great Northeast. There's one tile that's completely obliterated. The central message is carved out with a hot razor. Green Tea says, while true linoleum typically lacks asbestos, some manufacturers produce versions with asbestos-containing backing materials. Good thing to watch out for. Thank you so much, Green Tea. Particularly after the 1930s, such as Armstrong Cork Industries' Linaflor product. Additionally, this is all from Green Tea, the adhesive used to install flooring, commonly a black tar-like substance known as cutback adhesive. Wow, good information here. I'm going to take a picture of this page. You'll see a flash. Known as cutback adhesive, often contained asbestos and could pose a risk if disturbed. I'm going to have to get the non-asbestos versions of those for sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Wow, if I didn't have that warning. Wow. You're in my will. Brookbird says, the floors in our apartment look like wood, but they are stuck-on tiles. Stick-on tiles that got stuck on. Aldergon says, I would hope the asbestos material wouldn't even be available anymore. No doubt, right? There's 15th and Chestnut in Philadelphia. That one's went to heck. As cars drive over the tile, the package is driven into the street. And remember, people, the no, that's not the one. It's not under there. Where's the other one? Did I get rid of it already? Where's the other one? Here. Remember that there are over 600 of these tiles. Now they're in Europe as well. I'm thinking most likely by copycats. And there are copycats here in the States too, now as well. And yeah, there's lots of different tiles. Over 600. Why are you doing this? I'm not a robot. Our systems have detected unusual traffic from your computer network. This page checks to see if it's really you sending the request and not a robot. I'm not a robot. Yeah, just hundreds and hundreds of different Toynbee tiles. And they're even on t-shirts now. And so on patches. There's a smaller tile right there. Groovy. In later years, late years, the tiles became smaller from the original tiler, evidently. I say smaller and smaller. I don't mean they reduced. There's a consecutive reduction in size. I mean, all of a sudden, a certain small version began appearing, evidently about that size. Okay, where were we? Good question. We got to go here. Excuse me. Green Tea says she is positive all modern linoleum is asbestos-free and safe from these concerns. Diet iced tea, which I should start making myself. As cars drive over the tile, the package is driven into the street. Over time, the top layers of tar paper are worn away. By the time the tile is revealed, it's thoroughly embedded into the street. No road crews, no blowtorches. Once carved and prepped, tiles can be installed in seconds. But how did the Toynbee tiler get away with gluing over 600 tiles in more than 50 cities worldwide without ever getting caught? Well, evidently there is some of his original tiles overseas. If you read this site front to back, you will remember that I mentioned the tiler had experience converting Fiat 128 sedans into pickup trucks. We don't know what kind of car the tiler used to distribute tiles, but we do know that he used his skills to remove the floorboard. So now take the scenario above and imagine this. It's 4 a.m. and a car pulls up to a red light. The light turns green and the car drives off. While it was stopped, you probably didn't notice the driver dropping a black rectangular package through the open floorboard of his car, or noticed the low, flat black mound of tar paper appear on the black asphalt of the street. And it's that, writes Steve Wynack. Simple and brilliant. Oh, and that's all the other sections. What do we have coming up? Oh, here's the David Mamet reference. David Mamet's a famous playwright. Several of his plays are, I would say, several of his plays have been adapted for television, and he might have actually written screenplays. I'm not sure about that. But evidently he heard the Tyler on the Larry King show, who was interviewing America during one segment of his show. He had call-ins, like Larry King, like Art Bell did later. Of course, he wasn't in the spooky category of Art Bell, but he did have the call-ins, and the Tyler was known to have called in at least one time, and maybe several times. He might have been a regular. So even though David Mamet says that the Tyler got the idea from him, it's probably more likely that he heard the Larry King show, and then it bubbled up from his unconscious, and he wrote this short little play. And I'm hoping we have that play here. Yes, we do. Is it here? It's right here. Let's just go there with a click on the link. I don't know why this is here. Public notice. Toynbee's Ideas and Movie 2001, A Space Odyssey. To bring every dead molecule of every human body of history to life on the planet Jupiter. Okay, and here's the play he wrote. Gonna have to do my best. My best, not Art Bell. My best, Larry King. Hello, you're on the air. Hello. Hello, Greg. How are you? I am fine. He calls, of course, in the play, the guy's called Greg. Good. Greg, it's a pleasure to talk with you. I had the pleasure of talking to you 3.5 years ago, and I've been a continual listener of yours since you started out with the 22 stations. I admire you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. What's your problem? Greg, we need you to help publicize our plan. We've been trying to get our organization together to raise money to be able to hire a public relations firm like Wells and Jacoby to publicize our organization. Where are we going to get the money? I don't know. To publicize your... In the movie 2001, based on the writings of Arnold Toynbee, they speak of the plan. Excuse me, but the movie 2001 was based on the writings. All human life is made of molecules. Based on the writings of Arthur C. Clarke. All human. No, Greg, if you examine... It was based on the writings of Arthur C. Clarke. Oh, Greg, no, we have the... Well, go on. Greg, in the writings of Arnold Toynbee, he discusses a plan whereby all human life could be easily reconstituted on the planet Jupiter. Uh-huh. Greg? Yes, I'm listening. Greg? Yes. In the writings... Yeah, I got it. Go on. In the... No. I got it. Arnold Toynbee. Human life. As we're made of molecules, Greg, and the atoms of all human life that ever lived are still in all of us. Okay, I got it. They exist. They've just been rearranged. Yes. So? We'd like to publicize our organization, Greg. We're very young. We've just been in existence over a year, and we want to publicize our theory. And Greg, we don't know how. How do you publicize your plan to bring dead people back to life on Jupiter? Yes. Why? Why would you want to do this? Hello? Yes. Why would you want to do this? You see what I'm trying to say to you? What's the aim of your group? Greg. What are your plans? What? Greg, I told you. You said you want to bring dead people back to life. Yes. On the planet Jupiter. Just as they showed us in the movie. Well, I'm not sure that's what the movie was about, but be that as it may, why would you want to do that? Greg, you can't mean it. Well, yes, I mean it. Why would you? What's the idea? You're walking down the street. There's Abraham Lincoln. Is that the idea? Yes. So anybody you want to talk to and so forth, there they are. Is that the idea? Yes. Who do you pick? Who picks them? You? Your organization? Or do you just bring them all back? What is do you have a program for this? What are the goals? To bring... Nah, it's too broad. It's too broad. Don't you see what I'm talking about? You can't bring them back all. You can't bring all of them. You can't bring all of them back. Can you? I don't know. Well, think about it. Think about it. You're talking about billions of people, right? They've lived at different times. They speak different languages. The ones that speak our language, it's changed over the years. The dialects are different. Customs change. Their lives are different. Some of them died violent deaths. Some are disfigured. They've been decomposing. Listen to this. At what point do you bring them back? Right before they died? What if they were ill? What if they were infirm? And so you don't do it then. When do you do it? At what point? You see what I'm telling you? Someone wants to come back at age 20, so you bring them back at 55. Is he allowed to change? And who's to say if he can or can't? What if he never wanted to come back? Greg, what about the people who killed themselves? Because they didn't want to live. Some of them we know. We could leave out. What about the ones we don't know? Who's going to pass on this? You and your group? Well, then you're talking about something very much like fascism. Is that what... Oh, we have the Tina Tomaszewski alarm going off. I'm sure Tina will join us when she's able. Lost the line. Because I'll tell you what you got very quickly is a state where only the pure can come back, or the good-looking, or whatever the people in charge that day seem to feel is the ultimate good, and it tickles their fancy. Or do you just press a button and everyone comes back? And what do you have then? I'll tell you what you have. You've got war, unless you think that being dead improved them. You see what I'm saying? You've got the same jealousies and misunderstandings you had the first time. And how do you explain the technology to some guy who's just come back from 1565? And all of a sudden he's in some spacesuit and he's alive again. He wouldn't be in a spacesuit. Whatever. And who governs this august group? Or do they just get along? Not in this lifetime, friend. What do you think? Because they're on a foreign planet that it's going to be cooperation and goodwill? They're going to forget about their human nature and just live in joy? You're talking about heaven, my friend. Heaven does not exist. You think the fact that they've come back is going to make them all philosophers? I don't think so. For a day, yes. Maybe. A week, a month later. And I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be worse than it was before. And you know what you got? Chaos. And any time you got a state like that, you have a populace that thinks the world owes it a living. And you've got a tragedy. It doesn't hold up. Even as a dream. It's not thought out. And what do they eat? Toynbee says that we can bombard the atmosphere with oxygen and reclaim the soul and reclaim the soil. Does he? And what if he's wrong? You see what I'm saying? Listen to me. The world is full of histories of people trying to live in utopia. It doesn't work. We wish it did. It doesn't. All right? All right? Yes. All right. Thank you for calling. Caller line goes dead. Let's move along. That's the end of the short play by David Mamet. Okay, guys. The big hand is at the top of the clock, and the little hand is at the top of the clock. So it's time to remind you to come back next week for the next show. And don't forget here in about 6 minutes live here on YouTube will be Peter McCarthy live on the channel Dark Sayings. So you don't want to miss that. Until next week, may God bless and protect us all.